Hi everyone, I'm JD, welcome back to my channel. So, in this video I'm going to be sharing something a little bit different, going back to my artwork, and I haven't shared any of my art journal cards for a while, and I'm not going to be sharing a pack in this video, but what I thought I'd do is go back right to the very beginning of my art drawing journey, because I haven't actually shared that or in much detail, and yeah, just want to kind of go back and share how this all started. And then my idea was to share every single artwork I've ever done, hopefully in chronological order with the stories and the meanings behind them. And I'm not sure if I'll do one per video or however many I can get through in a video. We'll just see how it goes, but for this video I thought I'd just share how it all started and one artwork just to begin with. Just because I've got quite a few questions about my art, and people saying they love the meanings behind them, and I've been struggling of thinking of how to put the packs together, and I think this is just going to be easier if I go one by one in order. And yeah. So let's go back to the beginning. In 2014 I moved from Melbourne to Queensland in this small country town called Bowen, and it is absolutely beautiful. This is all relevant to the story, so just bear with me. So I came from Melbourne in the Dandenongs, it's a beautiful area with the trees and the hills, and then I came to Bowen, which is just a stunning area with beaches everywhere, and it just looks like there are, I don't know, 10 beaches all around us, and I literally live, within a 2-minute walk of the beach. It's just across the road. And whenever you're driving through town, you can always see the beach, and it's just beautiful. And I do live in paradise. People come and visit me and they look around and they're just like, oh my goodness, you live in paradise. And I'm just like, yes I do. And that's why originally it was only going to be 1 year that I would come here. It was kind of like my version of a gap year, like a way later gap year than most people have. And just to do some writing and do a writing course while I was here, kind of have a bit of a writing retreat. But within the first month I knew that I would stay here because it's just so beautiful, and a place that makes me happy with the weather, the sun, the beaches, the beauty. It's just great. And the quiet atmosphere as well, and just a small country town. It has its pros and cons, but those pros really for me is why I stay here. Anyway, okay, so I went to a church here, and still the same one I go to now, and at this church a travelling group called Iron and Clay, who you might know of. I didn't know of them, but Iron and Clay, a group of young adults, I suppose, and they are a music group, so they sing. They also do other things. Sometimes they dance and do drama, and they share their testimonies, and it's very creative and very cool. And one of the ladies was named Lani, or Alana Bosgra, Lani for short, and she is an artist. And when she shared her kind of testimony or story, she shared it through her artwork, and she shared maybe 4 artworks, and every single one of them resonated with me and spoke to me. And one in particular really spoke to me at that time, and that is this one, and I bought it. So she sells these A3 size prints, and sorry you can't see the whole thing, but yeah, this, I'll read it out. The future is spread before me on the table, but I can't quite reach it yet. So this is the label she put on the back, and that was the title. She likes long titles, she says. And this is the meaning behind it that she wrote. I am someone who finds it hard to be content in life. I always think about the future and spend more time in my own imagination than I do in the present moment. On the day I drew this, I was freaking out because I was 18 and had no idea what direction to go in. I realized I needed to just calm down and that the future is spread out before me on the table. And even if I am a little girl down on the ground with no idea, God's got it ready on the table, which I am not able to reach yet. We all start small and should really just take one day at a time. And one day I will dine on a big girl chair. So you can see she's got this real kind of quirky style, and I love it. Like, it's totally not my style when I first saw this. I'm very much more a realist drawer. I would sit and look at a tree and draw the tree with the exact details, whereas this is very more, imagination and creative that way, and cartoonish, and that's how she kind of describes her work, more abstract. And yeah, I don't know, it was the first time I saw art like this, and it blew me away. It was one of those defining moments, that night where I saw these artworks, and it showed me how you can draw in a completely different style to express thoughts and feelings and insights and lessons. And I was just like, what? That is amazing. Never thought you could do that. Never knew you could do that. Like, all I knew art to be was either you draw something in your imagination and you just draw it, or you look at something and draw it. I never thought you could draw actual things like thoughts and feelings. And then it inspired me just so much that I started straight away. So I asked her, what do you use to draw? Because I chatted to her afterwards when I bought this from her, and she told me Prismacolor pencils. And I went out, and actually for that year my mum and my dad put in money for my birthday present, and I got these with that money. I mean, these are really expensive, and I just went full out with the 150 pencil box. And this is actually my second box though, so I've already gone through one box, and this is my second box. Look at this goodness. Oh my gosh, these pencils are amazing. And I used to love Derwents. I mean, I still love Derwents, but these just take it to another level. The quality, the vibrancy, it's amazing. And in fact though, she didn't actually do this one in Prismacolor. She did it in Faber-Castell. So anyway, but this also showed me how you could really colour in blocks. And because I thought this was paint. And so that's how I've been using these Prismacolors, is mostly using it where you press down really hard. Sometimes I don't. I do the softer version. But anyway, rambling. So I love these, and I straight away got into drawing my thoughts and my feelings. And my goodness, look how it all worked out, and how God's timing is just amazing. Because in 2015, that's when I went through my depression and anxiety, and drawing my thoughts and feelings saved my life in a way. It was just like amazing when I couldn't talk to anyone, when writing has always been my thing, but when I couldn't write what was going on because I didn't know how, drawing was there for me. And so that's why it's just such a huge thing. And I thank God that He provided this tool and of creativity and pencils and drawing and Lani and and art, and I'm always going to be thankful for that. And anyway, so that's why it's been such a big thing for me, and at the same time I love it because I love creating, so it's enjoyable and it's so fun, gives me rest gives me joy. And this was the very first, it's not really a picture, is it, but the very first play I had with my Prismacolors. I wanted to see what it looked like solid, so I did a little coloured in bit there, and swirls and squiggles, and literally I used every single colour in the pack just to see what they were like and to get used to them, and that's what I came up with. This is called Zany Colours. I just give it a title, give anything a title and it sounds better. And then this was the very first picture that I ever drew, and this is called Where My Heart Is. And I just want to share the story behind this and hope that it's encouraging, helpful, or inspiring, helpful. So this is about Bowen, and that's why I shared a bit about Bowen and everything. Coming here in 2014, I would go to the beach, all the time. Just, I would spend this oh, I don't know, just so much time. What I loved was being able to go to the beach and not having a time limit where I had to go home. I didn't have to check my watch or anything, and I could just sit there for as long as I needed to or wanted to and enjoy it. And I would often go to this beach in particular called Grays Bay, and here's that beach there, and sit on a rock. I'd climb these rocks and go to the very top, and I would sit there, and no one else was around usually. Some people would be fishing on the rock and some people would be on the beach here, but usually it was just me and the beach and God. And that's why there's the cross, if you can see that. And I would sit there and watch the sunset. So here's the sunset, and I'd watch the stars come out, and often I would lie back and I'll just lie on the top of this rock and look at the stars. And I'd have my journal and my notebook, my notebook and my pen, and I would write, and I would listen to music, because music helps me, just connect with God, and also just love it. And I found I would go here, not just because it's beautiful, but because it's where I found my rest. If my head was frazzled, I would go here and leave not so frazzled. And what I did was I would talk to God, and anything that was going around in my head, I would just get it all out. And well, for me, I talk to God best through writing, and I would just write it all out. And I found this is a tip that really helped me. Sometimes when you want to hear from God, you can't, because you're too full already of swirling thoughts and feelings. And so a way to be able to hear from him is to first of all get it out. So tell him everything, and only when it's all out and you are freed up that he can finally speak into that situation or whatever. And I found that really helpful. So it's kind of a pain, like, you have to spend, if it's a lot of stuff, you have to, for me, I had to write and write pages and pages until it was all out. But I couldn't hear from him until it was all out. So there was like a discipline thing. So I'd write it out. Sometimes it would only be a page. Other times it would be a swirl, a mess of thoughts and things, and it would be pages and pages. But after that, I'd put my notebook down and my pen down, and once it was all out, I would go, "What do you want to say to me, God?" And then, without fail, he would always speak and say something that would encourage me or make me, that would leave me feeling better than I did before, if that makes sense. And it might not necessarily have solved anything. It just gave me peace about whatever it is, or overall. And that was a handy tip. And I found that year I needed to do that a lot. Like, I just needed to go there, get things out and hear from him. And it was just, really great to have that time and space to do that. And you do need kind of time and space, no interruptions. And you kind of need to sit there. For me, it could have been 1 hour. Sometimes it took 3 hours, before I could get that all out and finally hear something. But that's what I did. I got it all out and then simply asked, "What do you want to say to me, God?" And then listened, just waited and listened. And then I would journal what he told me. And then I would leave feeling a little bit better. So that's what I did. And this is what it represents. And the palm tree, tropical. And down here is like bubbles and waves, and I think of water as Holy Spirit, and that's like a symbol for me of the Holy Spirit. And then over here, these are some little symbols as well: a house, a home, and a heart. And that's what it's all about. Is Melbourne for me is always going to be home, because it's where I grew up, it's my history, it's where my family is. It will always be home, and I'll always love it, and a piece of me will always be there, and I'll always want to go back there and visit. But the thing is, this place has my heart in Bowen because of what I just said, the sunset, the stars, the beach, the weather, the sun, and the fact that I can connect with God here. I think finding an environment where you can connect with God is so helpful. I mean, you can connect with God anywhere, of course, but if you can find a place that specifically speaks to you, then that is going to help a lot more as well, obviously. And so this is just a place where I felt like I was closer to God and could hear from him more at the beach in this place. Because in Melbourne, there's no beach to go to. It's freezing anyway, so I don't want to be outside. You can't even see the stars because there's trees everywhere, that kind of thing. So that's why place and location is a big thing here, and why I'm going on about it. And you know, that's a tool and a gift too from God, location. So have a think. I don't know if that's helpful at all about finding the space for you and where is it that you belong. Yeah. So, and that's the idea, is that home is where I grew up and where my family is and where my history is, of course, but home is also where my heart is. And a big part of my heart is also here in Bowen. So yeah, that is that picture. And what I love about these pictures is, as well, is that they're packed full of meaning. You know me, you've heard me talk about it so much now that you probably know meaning is a big thing for me. Everything I do has meaning, or I want everything I do to have meaning. And anything I draw will have meaning. So every little element I chose there specifically, you know, and it has a story, it has a meaning behind it that connects with me. And I love that you can pack so much into one picture. And so this picture for me, I will look at it instantly and it takes me straight back to that moment I drew it and to 2014. And I love that a picture can do that. And, you know, not just my artwork, any picture can do that. And what a great tool. And the fact that it can capture that and bring you back there, that's all my artwork does that. And that's why it's so great, because you won't forget the lesson, or you won't forget the insight, or that encouraging message, or that story, or that meaning. So, yeah. And that's the other thing about this artwork, is I never knew you could use these kind of symbols. My work is very packed full of symbols, and with everything meaning something. And I never knew you could do art like that. I was like, what on earth is this? And now that I do it, I love it. It's just the best form I found to express, yeah, my thoughts and feelings and my insights and lessons and everything. So, yeah, I really hope that was helpful, whether in your own life, or in your journey with God, or in your creative journey, and maybe it inspires you to draw or to express yourself somehow, or find symbols to express yourself. I don't know. I just know that it really, really inspired me, and I just want to share that with you guys and hope it was helpful. And yeah, I will be back with more videos on all the drawings I've done and the meanings behind them. So, oh, the other thing I should mention is, yeah, all my artwork is available for sale. If you don't see it on Etsy, don't worry. If you see it on my video, everything is already for sale, like in any size and any quantity. So all you have to do is get in touch with me through Etsy or email me, and some of you have already done that, and that's great. Thank you so much. But I know, like, some of you have been asking about it, and I just want to put it out there to anyone who's interested and wanting a piece of this work, any other artworks. Like, that's an option as well. Like, you can always just contact me. You don't need to wait for me to put things up in Etsy, because it might never happen. But just contact me and you can get one little journaling card, or 2 or 3, or 1 A4 size, or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so hope that was helpful, and I'll be back with the next videos on in this art series. Thanks, guys. Bye.